And good morning, 22 minutes after 9 o'clock. Sean Smalls sitting in studio. Mike Winters off at his house. He'll be chiming in from time to time.
I can hear.
He's with us. And you can hear like a disembodied voice every now and again. Don't worry, it's our producer from on high. Joining us in studio this morning is Lance Myers from the Roswell Invaders. How are you doing this morning?
Good. Thank you for having me again.
Absolutely. Thanks for being here. You guys are on the road. I mean, just nonstop, basically, just going and going.
Yeah, it's been a grind the last half of the season, and like Mike and I talked about last week, we squeaked into the playoffs. We did what we had to do to get there. Mm-hmm. And then we've put it together since, and everybody has really, come together, and we've continued to get the jobs done, and we kept advancing. So now we're moving into the championship series, and we're feeling pretty good about it.
It's impressive too because of it's kind of the story of the Invaders. You guys that you squeaked in, kind of under the wire, and then you went to went over to Garden City and basically dominated. I mean, that's significant.
Yeah, it was tough. They are a lot better team.
They can't hear you from here. It's okay. Talk all the smack you want.
They're a lot better team now than they were the first time we played them in the season. They added a few pieces to their puzzle, sure. And we did the same thing. For the most part, we added a couple of guys along the way. But playing there, it was a good environment. They had over 500 fans every game, and it was loud. They supported them, but regardless, we had guys step up. Everybody played a part, and one of the things that I really was very, very happy about was the bullpen, or our bullpen throughout that whole series. The 3-game series. We did a good job at putting things together and winning the games, mm-hmm. But without the bullpen coming in and stepping up like they did, in those 3 games the bullpen did not give up a single earned run.
Nice.
So everybody that came in and picked up whoever it was, the starter got their job done, right. Passed it off to the pen, and the pen we couldn't ask anything more of them.
And everybody has to kind of step it up that much more. I mean, in this, obviously with the playoffs, but also kind of in that environment that every single play, every single at bat matters. Every single thing that happens is the difference between you guys continuing on or just hanging it up for the season.
Exactly. And that's one thing that I've really been preaching of lately is, win every inning, but you could even break that down further and it's win every single pitch.
Absolutely.
And one of the biggest things, that I can really, really stress to these guys is, you never know when your last pitch is going to be. And that's something that my grandpa used to tell me before every single game. You go out there, and he actually passed away 2 years ago today.
Oh, wow.
And that was one of the things. You never know when your last pitch is going to be, so you play every single pitch like it's your last.
There you go. Put everything you have behind that pitch because it could be the last time you ever do it.
Exactly. You don't ever want to have a regret, or you don't want to go back 5, 10, 20, 30 years from now and say, well, what if I would have done this? If you're giving it your all, if you're doing everything that you possibly can, you're not going to be able to go back and say, well, what if?
Right. So I'm curious. I mean, over the last 18, 19 months, as a functioning baseball team in the middle of a pandemic, I mean, what's that like?
There's been a lot of things happen. As far as some of the teams, I was told, had a couple cases.
Sure.
They handled it the right way. They quarantined their players, and
right.
They took care of what they needed to take care of. I think we've been pretty fortunate with keeping everybody pretty healthy.
Right.
And like I said, even off the field, the guys that I have here, they're great kids. They take care of themselves. They're respectful, and the biggest thing with the pandemic and everything is, these guys are smart. They're not going out doing dumb things. They're making sure they're not putting themselves in bad situations like that.
Nobody's going and licking bus station benches or anything.
Right.
We're gonna save that activity for post-pandemic. We'll save that for down the road. But yeah. So as far as like the stands, as far as like fans in the stands, I mean, it's got to be a crapshoot at this point. Like you show up at some places and there's empty stands. Show up at some places it's a full crowd of people. What's that dynamic like as far as like when you're on the field?
Fans definitely make a difference. That's in every sport that I've ever played. I really believe that. I feel like, they can kind of act as like an extra man.
You play for the pop.
Yes, sir. But so, it's a lot more fun when you're playing in front of 500-600 people opposed to, 30, 40 or whatever,
Sure.
Whatever it is. And it's like, you're playing the game and it's like at the end of the day, it's between the teams on the field. But, the crowd definitely brings more excitement in. And, it's one of those things that, it's kind of hard to explain, but it's just a feeling you get when like all of these people are here, A, for entertainment, B, to spend some time with their family catching a ball game or, whatever it is. But it's like there's just that extra, little bit of fire, set underneath myself, and I would assume, it does the same to everybody else on the field as well.
Sure. Now, on the other side of that, does the silence get in your head? I mean, are you guys able to kind of like play through it? Do you find that in some cases, some players kind of get distracted by the lack of the pop?
I mean, I'm sure it does happen. In between innings, and I'll just use myself as an example here. But in between innings or, as I'm running on or off the field, it's one of those things. You definitely hear the fans, whether, somebody's trying to trash talk or,
Right.
just kind of chirp the players or, they're cheering for their team or whatever, you really hear that. And it's actually kind of cool to hear.
Right.
But as far as the crowd, I've played in front of a few thousand people. I've played where there's one fan in the stands. When I'm up the bat or, something like that, it doesn't matter how many people are there.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody's saying something to me, I'm not going to hear them. I kind of block it out, channel it in, and, get focused. And that's something, that my dad's told me since I started playing, don't
Sure.
worry about, the surroundings and stuff. You have to focus up, concentrate here. And, you're here to get that job done. You're not here necessarily
Block them
to
out.
listen to what everybody has to say.
And if that is something that you need, if you need that crowd noise, here's a pro tip: keep one AirPod in, and then just pump in crowd noise into your ear. You can work in your own swells. So like when you're walking to the plate, you can actually like swell it up a little bit. Get a chant going. Have one fan in the stands going, "You suck!" Just work it up a little bit.
Oh,
So back on the road. No rest for the weary. I mean, you guys are straight back onto it.
yes, sir.
Straight back
So
over
we
to Arizona.
after the game, I guess it was Saturday, was the last game in Garden City. We drove the 8 hours back yesterday here to Roswell. We got in around 7:15 or so last night, and then we're going to be leaving again today around 11-ish, and we're headed to Tucson, Arizona for the championship series, which is another 7 hours away, which does bring me to a very good point. Mike and I talked last week about we don't have a bus. Guys have been driving their own cars.
I was wondering about that.
And typically we've taken anywhere from like 6 to 8 cars. It just depends on, who's driving, if somebody hasn't got their oil changed or, whatever it is. But there was a post on Facebook that I'm pretty sure my fiance started yesterday, and we've had an abundance of people, reach out and donate gas money and stuff to help us out for this trip along the way. As towards the end of the season here, it is getting down to a struggle, money wise or
Sure.
whatever, and trying to make it back and forth. And everything. So we cannot thank everybody enough.
Absolutely.
And, I don't have everybody's names here. I would personally thank them, on the air, but this help and, support that we've received since, she put up the post and there's been donations and everything coming in. It's unbelievable. I can't say thank you enough. And, we greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate it.
Absolutely. You know what? Make sure to send us that post. We'll post it up over on all our Facebook pages. So
Okay.
we can, get as much attention on that as possible. So yeah, that was actually a question I had, was if you guys were traveling all in a pack or if you guys were just taking your own vehicles. That is quite the financial strain. I mean,
Yes.
all the gas money, all the the hotels and accommodations and stuff like that. That really takes a toll.
It does, and it's one of those things where, I've told all of these guys coming in, you're going to make more money at McDonald's than you will, playing in the Pecos League. However, it is a grind.
Right.
It is an opportunity. It's a place to get your foot in the door and move up, because the higher you move up in independent baseball, the more money you're going to make.
Absolutely. Got to start somewhere.
But if you're doing it for the money, like in my personal opinion, if you're doing it for the money, regardless of what level you're at, you're doing it for the wrong reasons.
Exactly.
I mean,
Unless you're in finance, like the world of finance, I've always felt that same way, because you don't get rich in radio. That's always been the going idea. I do this for the love of the game. It's you have to really have a passion for what you are sinking most of your life into.
right.
And for you guys, it's all of your lives pretty much.
Yeah,
I mean, everything is spent either on the road or on the field.
that's very true.
I have a quick question. When y'all are in Tucson for the series, as far as scouts and things, are there going to be a lot of that for these guys? Are there going to be a lot of eyeballs on them for opportunities to move up after the series?
It's hit or miss. Sometimes, we've had scouts here in Roswell this year, from higher up teams or independent scouts and stuff. I can't say yes or no, because it's just kind of up in the air. They show up sometimes, they don't show up sometimes. They'll send me an email or they'll give me a call, interested about a player, and I'm hoping, I'm really hoping for a lot of these guys that there are, and some guys get some opportunities, because there's some really good players in this league. And I've seen guys that leagues that are higher than the Pecos, and I believe there's a lot of guys on both our team and Tucson's team, that is definitely capable of playing at the next level.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and to be honest, if nothing else, every at bat, every chance to make a play, that's a chance to be noticed. So,
Absolutely, yeah. I'm curious though. Is that from your perspective? Is that like a fear? I mean, I've always wondered if coaches of farm teams, seeing their players get scouted, get scooped up, that affects your bottom line essentially. That affects if you get your power player scooped up, is that something that is a fear for you, or a concern even on your mind?
I try not to think about it that way. From that aspect, because even if one of our better players, like I'll just use Jonathan Fleckenstein and Cody Strayer. They started out the year with us. They both got called up. Our bullpen definitely took a hit when they left. But at the end of the day, one of the things that I told myself, one of the things, that I've talked with quite a few of the players about, is if somebody gets an opportunity in a higher league, I will never hold somebody back just to win a few games here, or what, like, that's these guys' careers, that are on the line.
And there's a point of pride to it too, that you were part of that, their start, that you were at that level where they got discovered and got called up.
Right. Well, I mean, yeah, that's true. But at the end of the day, these guys are the ones that are putting in the
Absolutely,
work. They're
sure.
doing all of this. Really, the only thing I could ever, I guess, take credit for is I gave them the opportunity to be here. But, even though, I guess, if you look at it that way, every single one of these guys, regardless whether anybody gets called up or not, these guys, have earned their spot here on the team. They've done stuff in the past, whether it be put up numbers, getting a call, getting referred to me by, a college coach or another guy, that coaches in the, independent professional baseball levels. And, yeah. And, it's just, they're striving to get to that next level. I know that's why everybody's here still doing it. But yeah, no, as far as I'll never hold somebody back, even there's going to be guys that step up, and, a lot of these guys that are here, now still with us have, they've proven that time and time again. We lose quote unquote 2 of our best back end guys. And then you've got people like Jack McNillis stepping up huge. Josh Smith is another kid from Ohio. And he actually went to the same college that I did. And, he was a freshman when I was a senior, but, we had a couple of, things happen in the bullpen. A couple guys get called up. Josh has started all year. He's been a starting pitcher. He's made the transition to throwing out of the bullpen, and he's been, lights out in the pen this year, in the pen throughout these playoffs. Starting in Alpine, that correlated and translated over to Garden City, and that's just it's super cool to see the success rate, and seeing these guys be able to do so many different things, which
on a couple different hats.
Exactly. And and that's going to help some of these guys get to the next level, because a lot of times getting to the next level is either A, having the connection, or B, being in the right place at the right time, being seen by the right person.
Sure.
And a lot of times it's, when managers get calls or whatever it is asking about guys, it's like, look, I'm looking for a starting pitcher, or I'm looking for a guy that, could be long relief, potentially the back end of a bullpen. And it's like, somebody calls me, and I'm just going to use Josh in this situation, or I could even use, Jack McNillis, who's transitioned from a starter to a reliever, and now he's our closer. It was, both of those guys, they've been in pretty much every single role this year. They've been successful. They've continued to get better.
Sure.
And it's like, they're just opening the doors for themselves to, make that path a little bit easier. They're showing versatility.
Exactly.
So
versatility, the flexibility to be and do whatever's asked of you.
Exactly. And a lot of times you'll see that more in position players where, a guy can play second base, he plays shortstop, third base, or whatever it is. And it's like, now he's a little more versatile to a team because he's not limited to, just that one spot. And then from a pitcher's perspective, like I said, if there's a guy that can start, he can throw, long relief, he can kind of be a bridge guy, or, aside from that, he could also, be a closer, that's huge. And,
Sure.
And like I said, I want to tip my hat off to everybody on this team. It's been a really good team effort. Everybody's come together and, really stepped up and done their job. But, like I said, those are 2 guys that, really, really have stepped up, and it's really stood out to me. And, I couldn't be more happy for them and this whole team.
Absolutely. And that's got to be kind of the fun of it for you as kind of the coach, is the chess game aspect of it, is kind of, move them around and kind of see, if maybe you had a hidden heater you didn't know about,
Right.
Somebody that kind of hiding in the background that was, actually just throw the heat for, several games. I mean, that's got to be kind of the fun aspect of it.
Yeah, it is, and that's one thing that, I've tried to do. I know I'm still young in the baseball world. I like to think I'm young everywhere.
Sure.
But we
all like to think that.
there's always, things that you're going to learn along the way. I know I try to chart hitters. I try to, figure out, what the opposing pitchers are throwing, what to right-handed batters opposed to, per se left-handed batters.
Mm-hmm.
What do they throw do they have tendencies to go throw a certain pitch when they're ahead in the count? What do they throw when they're behind in the count? Right. Things like that. So, I do a lot of charting and, trying to help the guys out. and a lot of the guys on the team, have bought into it. They've been looking at spray charts for, the opposing teams. We've been looking at numbers and, and everything for opposing pitchers, and, trying to use the resources along the way to, set ourselves up for the most success. And, and then outside of just that, I've been on the phone with, ex coaches, managers in higher leagues, my dad, asking questions and just trying to, hey, what would you do in this situation? And then why? Trying to pick people's brains, figure out, things, because, that's one thing that I've been taught since I was young too, is, you never stop learning.
Right.
You want to learn something every day. And when you stop learning, or when when you quote unquote, it all, there's not going to be that joy there. There's,
Right.
There's nothing to really move forward to look forward to.
Once you're comfortable, that's when you need to start looking around and figure out what's wrong.
Exactly. So, and that's one of those things. And it's, that, I just want to stay humble with it. I know that, there's a lot of things that, I still have to learn. There's a lot of things that, I did or I have done that I'm like, hey, I probably should have done this, but at the end of the day, it's kind of like an at bat. And what I tell the guys is, it doesn't matter if you hit a home run or you strike out, you got to get up there and do it again. So like I say, even if I make a mistake, even if I'm like, hey, it probably would have been better if I would have done this, that's on me. I've got to wear that.
But it's what you take from it that actually matters.
Exactly. So, that's another learning experience. And it's like, then, hey, now I'm able to learn from that, but it's in the past. I can't sit there and dwell on it. We have to move forward.
Absolutely. And that's something that's, mark of a good, a good coach and a good team is those that can look at, a mistake, look at a misstep, and use it as an experience. It's real easy to fall into that complacency of, of just being the mistakes, being the team that makes mistakes. But if you use those opportunities and grow from them, I mean, that's fantastic. So, I mean, back on the road once again, you guys heading to Tucson for the next series. Where can folks learn more about you, follow you, find out about the Invaders?
So the Facebook page is updated pretty much every single day.
Okay.
And then during games, I know that there's updates that go on to Facebook. You can also check us out on RoswellInvaders.com. There you can kind of look at the schedule, the stats, basically anything that kind of goes on with the team, the recap of the game from the night before or whatever. Point Streak, you can actually follow the game on Point Streak for free.
Okay.
And that's an app. You can literally go to the web and type in Point Streak and then just Roswell Invaders. The game will pop up. There's no live video with that.
Sure.
We do have a Merit Extreme. Every single team in the league has a Merit Extreme, which that's an app, and usually there's a link posted. There's a link posted on the Facebook page, before every game, so you can go there. That's a live video feed. Nice. But it's $6 to watch that stream. Sure. And I don't think Tucson has a live radio broadcast like Alpine and Garden City both did. But yeah, no, I mean, there's, like I said, there's Point Streak, there's Meritix, and there's also, the Facebook.
The Facebook page is kind of the portal to have access to pretty much everything.
Yes, sir.
There you go. Find them there. And by the way, get a hold of some of that sick Roswell Invaders swag too, because you guys have the dopest merch in the game. During UFO Festival, people were like, wanting to find out where you can get their Invaders, merchandise, because it's a great logo.
Yeah, it is. There's a lot of cool things, that you see, and it's like every time you go somewhere, every time, we've had home games and stuff, and we're walking past the ticket booth, it seems like there's something new, that's come out, whether it's a hat, whether it's a shirt, whether it's a new design on something, and it's like, man, this stuff is very cool. And I heard on the stream when Bakersfield was playing Tucson before we were in Garden City, Commissioner Andrew Dunn took 2 boxes of Roswell hats to the field in Bakersfield.
Oh, wow.
For a game where Roswell's not even playing, and he sold all 2 boxes of hats.
Really?
At the ballpark, like it's
There's an allure behind the logo, because I mean, that's the cool thing about having the Roswell team, is there's kind of the mystery behind it. There's the people that are just fans of the alien thing. I was gonna say what y'all should do is what the Seahawks did. That find just like one itty bitty color in your logo and then make your whole uniforms that color. I could just picture all you guys out there.
We do have green pants. We've got green pants, a green jersey, a blue jersey, and then of course we've got the gray pants and the white pants.
Sure.
It's very bright.
Yeah. Yes.
And there's some guys that really like the green pants, and there's some guys that really don't.
I can imagine.
They're not bad either way. I think some of it is kind of cool.
I'll have some of the yellow.
But I think the biggest thing too is throughout our season, it's in the summertime, it's hot. Mm-hmm. The green pants are very, very thick. Sure. But it is nice to wear them. I know the people enjoy it. Especially the outsiders that are coming through Roswell that like to come in and see the green pants. Sure. Or whatever it is.
Save those for like the home games.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, for the most part. And then, and I'll say this, Ian Kinseyevich, one of the most animated pitchers or players that I've ever played with or had, play for me and stuff. Great kid. Done an exceptional job all year, but I know, he's one of the guys that he likes to pitch in the green pants. And then, he likes to post it on Facebook and say pitching for Roswell in green pants. So, you can check Ian Kinseyevich out on YouTube and see some of the highlight videos of
nice.
Him pitching, and like I said, very easy to find because it's pitching for Roswell in green pants.
Hey, when you got a thing that works, go with it. I mean, I like it. Well, Coach, good luck. Knock them out of the park, and we'll see how you guys are on the other side of the trip to Tucson.
All righty. Well, thank you. And I just want to say thank you again one more time to, everybody that, pitched in, helped out, donated with, gas money for this trip and stuff. Mm-hmm. I know I greatly appreciate it. Everybody on this team is definitely going to benefit from that. And, we can't say thank you enough.
Absolutely. And yeah, make sure to send me that link so I can put that up on our Facebook pages too.
Alrighty.
Absolutely. Coach, thank you again for your time, and we'll see you back here again.
All right. Hopefully we can bring a championship back to Roswell.
There you go. Oh, actually, quick question.
Yes, sir.
Do you guys still do pennants? Like, is that like a thing? I always hear like, the chase for the pennant. Do you guys have like a triangular flag that you guys are actually like playing for? I feel like y'all need to incorporate that in some form or fashion.
That's a good point. To my knowledge, no, we don't. But we are playing for a trophy, and everybody wants one of those rings.
Oh, there you go. Well, I'll get with the research and development. We'll see if we can work you guys up a pennant or something.
All righty.
A fancy fabric flag.
There we go.
Thanks again, Coach.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. 9 away from 10 o'clock. Let's take a quick pause for